Hi, I'm Dana, and today I really wanted to make a video talking about friendships when you're autistic, because they are tough. I follow a lot of people that talk about autism, especially women, because it's relatable, but I haven't yet personally seen someone make a video exclusively about friendships, and I just think it's an important topic to talk about because I have so often just been like, what is wrong with me? Like, even since getting my diagnosis and seeing like other autistic people online making friends with each other and stuff, and I just sort of can't do that very well. And I'm just like, what's going on with me? So obviously all autistic people are different, but I'm hoping that sharing my experiences and sharing how I feel about friendships and making them can help someone out, can help someone feel a bit more normal, I suppose, because we are all normal at the end of the day. I feel like human behaviour, like, it can be the weirdest thing, but it's still normal human behaviour because you're doing it, so it must be. But it can just feel nice to have behaviours that you've participated in or things that you feel normalised, and that's what I'm trying to do. I find personally that probably the most difficult part of any friendship is starting it. I really struggle to start conversations with people unless I know exactly what the conversation needs to be about. You know, like, it's very different going to a shop and having a quick conversation about the weather with a cashier versus like seeing someone in a bar that you think looks cool that you'd like to be friends with and having to like be like, do you just go up and speak to them? Is that what you do? How does it work? And I did really struggle with friendships in school as well, which is when it's pretty much easiest in my opinion. But especially since becoming an adult, I'm just like, how do the rest of you make friends? How does that happen? Because as an autistic person, one of the things I struggle most with is socialising. Being social with people makes me unbearably anxious, you know, and it's all very well people being like, well, what are you anxious about? I'm anxious about being rejected, I'm anxious about being like humiliated by them, I'm anxious about saying the wrong thing and being embarrassed and being more anxious because of that. I'm anxious about having some sort of fucking panic attack or breakdown in front of them. I'm anxious about a lot of things. And people like to go, oh, well, when does that ever happen? A lot. It's happened to me a lot. That's why I'm anxious about it happening again. It isn't some weird fictitious like world that I've built in my head where people don't like me. It's repeated situations where I've just had a terrible start to making any sort of friendship because I don't know how to socialise. Now, in the right environment, there have been times when I have made friends. You know, like if I'm working in a place, you automatically form some degree of camaraderie with the people you're working with, and that can develop into a friendship. Or my boyfriend has a friend and then they become my friend. It's always things like that. I'm very much the person that gets like picked up by the introvert, and then I have a group of friends and I've only made one friend really, but they're all my friend now. But even once that's happened, even once you have made a friend, the levels of friendship are tough. Like, I think you get what I mean by levels of friendship, but just in case you don't, I mean, when you meet someone, they're an acquaintance, right? Like, you're not really friends with them. You'll say hi to them if you like see them announced, but you're not friends. You're not gonna like text them or anything. And then you become friends, and that's when you will just message them like, hey, do you want to like meet up for a coffee? Do you want to like do this? And then that's where you like build and build by meeting up and hanging out and chatting, till you get to like a good friendship, a close friendship where you're like good friends. And then obviously as that continues, you can become best friends, and you can have multiple best friends. I've had that issue in friendship groups a lot where I'll be like, oh, you're my best friend, and they'll be like, well, you can't be my best friend because I'm best friends with such and such. I'm like, okay, number one, I don't need it reciprocated. I just need to know that you like me as a friend. You don't need to call me your best friend. And secondly, you can have more than one best friend. You can be best friends with lots of people, okay? But getting through those different levels, I find incredibly difficult. Like, I could name probably 15 people that I'm on like somewhere between acquaintance and friendship, and it's like somehow stagnated because I don't know how to put it to the friendship zone. You know, they're people that I've met, and usually in work or through my boyfriend, and then we've gone for a coffee or we've gone and hung out here or we've like chatted about this. So we're not just acquaintances anymore, but we're not friends either, and it's just stagnating there essentially. And I have no idea how to move past that. I don't think I've moved past that with anyone in the last 6 years. Like, last time I made friends with someone that I'm still friends with was 6 years ago when I was 18. Like, I would currently say that I have 2 friends, one of whom I met in high school and who keeps fucking off to Asia, thanks a lot. And the other who I met when I was 18 through my boyfriend. And they're the only people that I like I don't want to say care about, but you know, like I don't want to say care about, but I do mean care about, you know? Like they could message me with what they had for breakfast and I'd be interested in that. I'd be down for a chat about it. And I am that way with most people, to be fair. But up until it gets to that point where I'm really close with them, I will sort of just be a bit like, oh God, this person's messaged me and now I need to reply to them, and that means I need to like come up with a reply, and it stresses me out. So they're the struggles that I face when it comes to like starting a friendship. And now I want to delve into the issues that I've faced within friendships that I think are to some degree due to my autistic traits. And really due to me being autistic in that case. And that is that I often end up in either just really toxic or kind of manipulative situations. I've noticed that the most toxic friendships I've had have been the ones where it's normally with another person that's neurotypical, not always autistic, it could be any sort of neurodiversity, but you get so close, so fast. Like it's so nice to experience at the time, but then it'll come to a point, like I don't think I've had this type of friendship last more than a year and a half, because it gets to the point where one of you do something or another that pisses the other off, and rather than be able to just have an argument and then get over it, or discuss it and then get over it, it blows up into something way bigger. You know, there's my general like conflict avoidance, and then in my experience the other person's been a bit more fiery and a bit more angry than me, so they've like started like going off, and I've just been like, I don't want this, I'm done here. And it just sizzles out, it just ends. I mean, I say sizzles out, I mean it fucking erupts and everything's horrible for like 3 weeks and then it ends. And I won't lie, like to be a toxic friendship, they are often quite manipulative as well. But when I say manipulative friendship, I almost mean more, not that I'm manipulating them or that they're manipulating me, but that it's a circle of manipulation due to me masking. Because I've had friendships that I've had to just straight up like cut out, because I've been like, this person's lovely, this person's really nice, I like this person, they seem to like me. But as people, it's just not gonna work. You know, like to take one specific example, there was a girl I was friends with who just had the worst timekeeping, and she was a delightful person. She was one of the nicest people I've ever met. She was really interesting, she was really fun, you know, she was a great person. But her timekeeping was bad to the point where like she'd message me saying she was on her way to pick me up, and I just wouldn't see her. Like sometimes she'd show up the next day while I was like sat there in my pajamas all sad from being left the day before, and I don't want to say she didn't see a problem with it, because she would apologise profusely, like she was a nice person, she didn't mean to make me feel any negative way, but I did feel a negative way due to how she was acting. And I also saw that it wasn't her intention to make me feel bad. So even though we both liked each other, I knew from that time on that it was better for me to just cut it out. You know, it wasn't a friendship that was going to work. It was a friendship where I was going to continuously be hurt and unsure of if I was like actually friends with her and things like that. And I had to just cut it out. And I've had quite a few friendships like that. And I think I mentioned masking before and I went on to a slightly different point, so sorry about that. But masking has definitely been an issue for me in friendships. And I think it was probably most obvious in high school for me, because that was the time when I was really like, why am I doing this stuff? Like, I wasn't aware that I was trying to copy my friends, although there were several times they pulled me up for it. I just wanted so desperately to fit in that I unconsciously started to speak like them, act like them. For all intents and purposes, to them, it looked like I was trying to become them. And I can see and recognise and understand that now. But at the time, I just so desperately wanted to have friends that it just took over, it just happened to me. I did not mean to. And at the time I could see like, when I'm on my own, I feel this way, I feel good, I feel like I know who I am. And when I'm around other people, especially like a group of friends, I feel like I don't know who I am. I do things as though I'm not controlling my body, because like they're doing it, so I'm doing it, and I don't get it. And I get it now, it was masking, but at the time I really didn't get it. And then in my later teen years, I wasn't that far out of high school, but I was definitely approaching like, oh, I turned 21 while I was friends with them, so it was like my very late teen years, probably like the end of being 19 until just after I turned 21. And it was a horrible friendship group. Two of the girls were just, one of the girls was really horrible and manipulative, and the other one just bought into it all. And there were so many times with them, especially because it was such a weird group of people. Some of them were really lovely and sound and normal, for lack of a better term. Like, they were very much like me, and I related to them, and I liked them a lot. And the other group came from a bit more money, if you get what I mean. And I just didn't really relate to them as much, but I really wanted to because I thought they were good people. And there were many times with them where they'd be like messing around or doing something silly or doing something straight up stupid or mean. And I'd sort of like half-heartedly tag along with it and then notice the rest of the friendship group wasn't doing it. And it was like my mask was being torn off, and I'd suddenly be so embarrassed that I'd been acting like that, and I'd like completely zone out from what was happening, because there was just this deep humiliation within me that was like rising up and bubbling. I was just like, this isn't who I am, but it's what I'm doing, so that makes it who I am, and I hate who I am. And it wasn't who I am. It wasn't who I was. It's not who I am. It was masking. It was this unconscious mask to try and make them like me more. And it's just not good in a friendship. It doesn't work in a friendship. And for all of the bad friendships that I've had, obviously, like I say, my two good friendships that have lasted the longest, like, they're incredibly strong friendships. We can go weeks and months without speaking, and it just settles straight back in. I feel... Okay, so just before the pandemic kicked in, my first friend who I met in high school came to visit me. And I won't lie, I felt incredibly anxious in the run up to it because I hadn't seen her in, God, it must have been like 4 or 5 years. It was a long time. She's been like jet setting and doing amazing things. So I just hadn't seen her in ages. And I felt extreme anxiety in the run up to it. But the second she'd come into my house and we'd had a hug and been like, oh, you're here, this is great, I was completely at ease. Like in the way that I normally only am with my mum and my boyfriend, I was just completely at ease. I was completely myself, really enjoyed it. And that's such a rare experience for me. I wasn't expecting it because it had been so long since I saw her. But I think personally that being autistic for me means that when I know that someone understands me, and when I know that someone at least strives to understand me or accepts the things that they don't understand, it's so easy to be myself. And I know that there's lots and lots of people out there like that, but I have to be able to sort of slowly trickle out my weirdness to them, like sort of like feelers. And the more they like accept it or understand it or reply in same, the more I'm able to push out until eventually it's all sort of just moving between us and I don't feel particularly uncomfortable or anxious or nervous. And they are both friendships that are like technically long distance. They're both people I've met in real life. They're both people I do sometimes see, but they don't live close enough to me to see every single day. And I feel like that's really important because it just means there's so little pressure to see them as often, which sounds horrible because obviously I like seeing my friends. But when I've had friends that have lived in the area, it seems like it's sort of expected that you see each other every like week or twice a week even. And it's a case of like, look, honey, I like you and I'm glad we're friends, but I have a lot to do in a week. And being autistic, I don't have a lot of things that I need to recover from in the week. I don't really have time every single week. I don't have the time or mental capacity to hang out with you for like 2 hours and then have to recover from hanging out with you for 2 hours and still do all the other stuff I need to do in a day, you know? Like, it just doesn't work for me. I'll happily talk to you every day. I'll happily FaceTime or just chat on Facebook Messenger or whatever every single day. But I cannot do that like physical friendship all the time. So long distance friendships definitely work best for me for that reason. And I think that by the time you do see them, there's so much that you've like stored up to tell them and to like hear about that I feel much less anxious because it feels like the conversation's definitely gonna flow better versus when you see someone regularly and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't got any news. If you got any news? No, I haven't got any news. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to do in that situation. But when it's been like a year and you've got 1,000 bits of news to share, everything comes out and it's all exciting and it's a great friendship and it's awesome. So I think that's why they work so well. And I would like friends that live closer to me that I can see more often. But back to point one, I don't know how to make them. And I do also think that some of the friendships that I have and have had in the past that ended well or like where we just grew apart or whatever, I think to a degree they're kind of stronger because I'm autistic, because, you know, I hate being one of those people, it's like, I'm really empathetic. But I have like a very high empathy level. Like, if you're upset and you're crying about something, chances are I'm crying with you. And not for my stuff, for your shit, honey. Like, I feel very, very bad or very, very happy on people's behalf. Like, it's pretty rare that I get jealous of friends. I get very, very jealous of like other people and celebrities and influencers and whatever else, but it's very rare that I get jealous of friends because I'm so happy or excited for them for whatever the thing is that's like that I would otherwise be jealous of. And I definitely think that comes from my empathy because I'm autistic. And especially recently, a lot of people that have never experienced mental health issues before are going through that stuff. And being autistic, from what I've seen, I am more likely to experience anxiety and depression, which I have. So when my friends talk to me about mental health, most of the time I've experienced something similar. So even if they don't want like tips on how to feel better, I can at least be like, I understand, like you're not alone, you're not weird, you're not falling apart. I've been there, I'm okay now, and I understand. You know, and if they do want advice, I'm happy to dish off advice. But I do try not to automatically give advice to people when they complain about things to me because I think it's just really rude. And it's often not what I want when I'm complaining about something. And that's another thing that I think comes from being autistic. You know, some of it is my anxiety. I think some of it's that I overthink things and I overthink social situations. But also, would I be like that if I wasn't autistic? But in overthinking all of those things and in constantly like overthinking social situations and conversations especially, I do think that I've sort of figured out how to be a good friend and be a good listener. And, you know, at the very least, that's what I strive to do, which is what everyone should be doing. I do think that it's because I'm autistic that I overthink things so much. And it's through overthinking that I've come to understand like, oh, well, I don't want advice when I'm like, I'm so depressed, I'm so anxious. I don't want you to tell me to do yoga or like have a green smoothie. I want you to listen to me whinge and then maybe give me like your own experience or your own 2 cents or whinge about something else that you're going through. And it's through thinking like that I've been like, oh, so that's what I should do for my friends. You know, it's that constant overthinking of what I am doing and what other people are doing that's led me to be like, oh, well, if I want this, then other people probably want it. And I just think if I wasn't autistic, I probably wouldn't have thought into it that much. So to finish off this video, the like too long didn't read of it, friendships are really hard for me to start as an autistic person. They often stagnate and just sit there and they never progress to a real friendship from just being an acquaintance, which sucks. There's so many people I really like that are still stuck there. I've tended to end up in manipulative and toxic friendships because I pretty much assume that everyone's really nice once they've shown me the slightest bit of kindness. So someone's like nice to me for 2 seconds, I'm like, oh my god, this is the best person I've ever met, and next thing I know I'm in a horrible friendship with them. But on a positive final note, I think that many of my friendships have been stronger due to being autistic. I think that I'm a better friend to other people due to being autistic, and as soon as I figure out how to make friends, I'm sure I'll be a better friend to lots of people. Thank you for watching. This might be weird, but if you're watching this because you don't have any friends or because you want to make some new friends, bitch, same. Feel free to message me and just be like, hey, I saw your video and I want to be friends now, so I had this thing happen to me today. Like, literally just message me. I love making new internet friends. I think it's very cool. If you want an internet friend, you can hit me up. Yeah, so that's all I've got for today. I hope that this video was educational or enjoyable or felt relatable or did something for you if you watched this far in. And I hope that you have a fantastic day. Please do like and subscribe if you liked it and want to see more. I have nearly got 100 subscribers and that's very, very exciting. So yeah, have a good day. Okay, I'm going now for real. Bye, bye, bye.